pretty high on Paul Wolf as a crew chief. You trust him on that one?
Well, yeah, I do. And I can make it a case for him being right just by telling you why I wouldn't have agreed with that stop. But the fact of the matter is that he is an outstanding crew chief. I subscribe to these crew chiefs who are former drivers. The greatest example, of course, is Ray Evernham, because they can understand the dialogue. They understand what the driver's describing. And Paul Wolf has done an outstanding job. We're going to read and watch a lot about him going forward. You know, in the back of my mind, I think you got the best car, keep 4 tires on it. Isn't that sort of how you think?
I would think so, Ricky, but you know, you were the one that told us earlier, which I agree with you. You don't use the left side tires very much, but I still think they do something. And then we'll see what happens. It's hard to predict how, because this car is so good. If you got a good car, sometimes you can only take 2 tires and get away with it.
Well, stay with us after we figure out whether Paul was right or wrong on 2 tires. Here on ESPN2 immediately after our race, qualifying for the Fram Autolite NHRA Nationals. That's 11 Eastern. The finals for the Fram Autolite Nationals tomorrow night at 6 right here on ESPN2. Then don't miss the Izod IndyCar Series at Toronto. Justin Wilson on the pole. He set a track record. That'll be 12:30 Eastern on ABC. And, of course, next weekend, Nationwide Series will be at O'Reilly Raceway Park. You can watch it on ESPN Saturday at 8 Eastern. And the big one, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Brickyard 400 presented by Golden Corral. That's Sunday, July 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Our Aaron's Lucky Dog on that round of pit stops, that caution flag, was Ricky Stenhouse. He gets the free pass. He was the first driver 1 lap down. And now he is back on the lead lap.
All right, guys, I hope it doesn't happen, but I'm watching these restarts right now. This is about the time of the race where things start to heat up. Start bending metal, and I hope it doesn't happen, but these guys are getting jacked up now. It's getting close to the end.
Well, they're coming down. Lap 147 complete this time by out of 200. Brad Keselowski, the leader, has chosen the inside line, and Green is back out at Gateway. Carl Edwards hanging on the outside. That's a pretty good restart for Carl.
It's a great restart, and again, he'll have the advantage coming off of turn 2.
Big time. He just steps on it, and he's gone. Wow, what was that torque thing you guys were talking about with the Ford?
Running Gone trying the same thing on Kevin Harvick. I don't think it's going to work. Kevin gets to the middle of the corner here. He can clear him off of 4. Rusty, you know what it feels like to have old left side tires on. Doesn't it typically make the car feel a little tighter?
Well, it does. I just don't like old tires at all. I like new tires.
Well, and let's point out again, 4 versus 2. Carl took 4. Brad took 2. Doc?
And I went up and asked Paul Wolf, I said, what was behind the decision to take only 2 tires? He said, we were going to put 2 right side tires on because he has been very free in 3 and 4, and we've got 1 set of stickers left. If there's a late caution flag, we're going to come in and put those 4 on, and then we're going to be good to go. But 2 this time, and 4 for what may be a final stop inside of 40 to go. Mike.
Doc, I just had a brief conversation with the car chief on the 62 car, Shane Huffman, asking him about the decision to go with 2 tires. He said it was worth the risk. He said earlier today he was in the lounge watching the truck race with crew chief Brad Parrott. They saw Johnny Sauter take 2 with 40 laps to go. Seemed to work out pretty well for him. Sauter ended up 3rd in that race.
Trouble on the racetrack, guys, right now. Looking on the backstretch, Matt DiBenedetto has banged up the back end of that car.
Ryan Truex took like a defensive maneuver. I mean, he just could have been big, and it still could be big.
3 wide down the front straightaway into 1. I mean, these guys are tight right now.
Green flag is still out. DiBenedetto was running in the 10th position before he tagged the wall.
And this is what restarts create, right?
Oh, they get compacted. I mean, this is a tough one here. You see DiBenedetto, he spun a little while ago, didn't spin out totally, but tore the back of that car all up, and we're still green.
Oh, and now the 2 teammates together.
Oh.
Brad Coleman and Matt DiBenedetto have gotten together in turn 3.
They have taken each other out accidentally.
Turn 2, Rusty. That's where that happened.
And you sort of felt like that wasn't over. Started over.
Look at the damage.
Oh, that hurt bad.
Oh, boy, I guarantee you Joe Gibbs is home with his eyes closed right now. I hate this for an owner where both cars get wiped out in 1 wreck.
Well,
very unusual.
DiBenedetto had dropped back to the 18th position. Coleman running 19th when this happened. And
Last minute right in front of us.
There's Matt climbing out, which is very good news. Someone talked about hurt they might have met in the race car. DiBenedetto appears to be all right as he'll take his helmet off and lean up against the car. Coleman a little slower to exit here.
deal with the disappointment of being knocked out of the race, and then later the disappointment of doing it with your teammates.
All right, let's try to figure out what happened. Here is Matt, and he loses it off the corner.
He just flat gets loose and wrecks the car, but the caution flag doesn't come out, doesn't need to, keeps on going.
Everyone scrambles. He's nowhere near his teammate at this point. Then Trevor Bayne and Brendan Gaughan. That action heats up. Bang. Bang again, maybe. And that stacks him up. Rusty, that almost happened. You were talking about stacking up the front straightaway. They almost wrecked and did that. And then here are the two teammates. DiBenedetto losing it down in turn one. And guess who the unlucky next car was?
Look who's coming by. I can only guess this one. Oh,
boy.
That's bad luck.
So, and let's go on board with Brad and see what he was seeing.
I got the 20 up high. Come on, hard low. Come on, low.
Yeah.
And that last turn that Matt made was such a hard left that Brad just didn't have anywhere to go.
Just an unusual set of circumstances. The cars were in the same place at that time. But the 18 car was damaged, and he lost a lot of downforce because the rear of the car was caved in.
And Brad going over to make sure his teammate is all right and talk about it. And he looks a little stiff right now.
It was a big hit.
That was a big hit. And it was in the driver's door. You can see right there. That is just where Coleman got him. Another thing that you hate to see as a driver, right, guys?
Yeah, I don't want to speculate nothing. It definitely rung both their bells, that's for sure. And they're really disappointed that both of them got together. And you saw Brad Coleman coming. He just couldn't do nothing. He couldn't steer back up at that point. He was committed. And unfortunately, it's his own teammate sitting there.
Well, that gives us our third caution of the night. Two very fast race cars taken out in one fell swoop. Brad Coleman and Matt DiBenedetto okay, but out of the race. Now, the Missouri-Illinois Dodge Dealers 250 is under caution for the third time here at Gateway International Raceway. Be sure to check in on NASCAR.com for all the latest NASCAR information. And there'll be a lot to talk about after tonight, especially between the Joe Gibbs teammates, which really was an unfortunate circumstance. The last time the two Gibbs cars have failed to finish a nationwide race was February of 2009. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin at Las Vegas. All right, guys, watch this. DiBenedetto, he doesn't have any control, does he, Ricky?
The car's disabled at this point.
It looks like he's got a right rear flat at this point.
And there's Coleman with the impact.
Well, that hurt. Are you all right over there? That hurt bad.
That's a big wreck. I mean, you see the 18 car, the right front tire shoved clear back into the firewall. I mean, that was a hard wreck. That was Coleman making those comments that hurt. You see him getting out of the car really with a little bit of pain. Just knocked the wind out of him. And
here's Matt. He doesn't look a whole lot better. He could have said the same thing, walking over to the grass, and then it looks like he's not feeling 100% after all that.
Yeah, it looks like the weight just come off. And, you know, guys.
Rusty, what does that feel like when you get hit like that?
Oh, it hurts, but this is total disappointment for Matt. I mean, he's got a great shot driving this car. He knows it. Just got the car a little loose, hit the wall, and when he hit the wall, it damaged the rear spoiler, no downforce, and all this happens.
All right, pit road is still closed. The pace car is going to take him through that way anyway and lead him down pit road. But let's get some updates on some of our leaders. Shannon?
Well, down here with Drew Blickensturfer, crew chief for Carl Edwards, you're trying to set him up for the shorter run. You made an air pressure and a wedge adjustment on that pit stop. Is it going to be enough to hold off the 33 and the 22?
I hope so. Both those cars were a little better for probably the first 30 laps of a run. The Aflac Fusion comes on strong for the last 40 laps, but we got to get it a little better so that we can he's talking to me. I got to get it a little better, so hopefully we can run with those guys in the short run, because it's probably be short runs to the end.
All right, we'll let you get to Carl and try to get that third win here at Gateway. Doc?
Let's check in with Paul Wolfe as the cars go by us here on pit road. And Paul, your decision to take 2 tires instead of 4 on the pit stop a moment ago for Brad Kay. Why?
Well, the discount tire Dodge has been pretty good tonight. We just felt on a short run there. There wasn't a lot of wear with the left side tires today, so we want to keep a set of stickers for the end. We get a caution with 20 to go. We'll put 4 tires on and have a shot at it. So just Brad's been complaining about the brakes a little bit tonight. Obviously, this long caution will help cool him down. Seems like on a long run, we just don't have the feel he's looking for there. So, you know, we've led a bunch of laps tonight, but he's not real happy with